Welcome to Luminance TV, where light is shed on the darkest mysteries. In today's deep dive, we explore a tale that sent shockwaves across the nation, the story of Lori Vallow Daybell, infamously known as the Doomsday Mom. How did a woman, once perceived as a caring mother, descend into a vortex of delusion and violence, leading to the tragic demise of her own children? Lori Vallow Daybell's story isn't just about her shocking actions. It's also about the life she led before everything fell apart. Born Lori Cox in California, 1973, she first walked down the aisle at just 19, but that marriage didn't stick. Fast forward a few years, and Lori's married to William LaGioia. They have a son, Colby, but again, things don't last. Next up, Joseph Ryan enters her life. They have Tylee together, but like her previous marriages, it ends in divorce. Things get really messy when her brother Alex attacks Joseph, claiming he's protecting Lori and the kids. Then, in 2006, Lori marries Charles Vallow. He's a Catholic convert to her faith, and they adopt JJ, Charles's grandnephew. By 2014, they're living the island life in Hawaii. But behind this facade of frequent weddings and moves, Lori's beliefs start taking a dark turn. Lori's world took a wild turn in 2018 when she met Chad Daybell at a spiritual event. Chad, known for his Doomsday books, spun tales about past lives and cosmic battles between good and evil. He even told Lori they'd been married in previous lifetimes. Yeah, really. Soon, they're chatting non-stop, and Lori's all in. Chad's stories about living on different planets and sorting people as light or dark totally captivate her. They even team up for a Doomsday-themed podcast. This is where things start to get really out there. Lori and Chad dive deep into apocalyptic beliefs, mixing Mormon elements with end-of-the-world stuff. Zombies, secret religious groups, you name it, they believed it. It's the beginning of a dark path that would change everything. Things in Lori's life took a grim turn in 2019. By February, her marriage to Charles Vallow was crumbling. Lori claimed she was the reincarnated wife of Joseph Smith and mysteriously disappeared for nearly 2 months. Charles, worried for his safety and alarmed by Lori's behavior, filed for divorce and even sought a protective order, fearing for his life. But on July 11, 2019, tragedy struck. In Chandler, Arizona, Charles was shot and killed by Lori's brother, Alex Cox. Alex claimed it was self-defense, saying he acted after Charles attacked him. The police looked into it, but didn't dig deeper at the time. The shocking part? Lori's kids, Tylee and JJ, were there when it happened.
Like just in the last 20 minutes.
He came at me with a bat.
Okay. Was he living here or
no.
Visiting?
He came to pick up his son.
So you both, so you get in an argument? What is it over?
Well, it was over my sister. He was getting physical with her, and so my niece came out with her bat, and then he took the bat away from her.
Wait a minute, I thought you said your niece left.
She did. This was before.
And then your niece pulls out a bat?
Well, it wasn't verbal. He was getting close, and she came out to defend my sister with her bat.
Your niece?
Yes.
Okay.
And then she poked at him, and he took it away.
Okay.
And then I stepped in and told them they needed to separate.
Right.
So then my sister leaves with my niece.
And how long ago did they leave? It's been like an hour, 10 minutes?
20 minutes maybe? I don't know.
Okay. So not terribly long.
No.
Oh, okay.
And then he's coming back at me, and he still got the bat in his hand. I'm like, what are you doing?
And where are you at it? Where are you both
in the
at?
living room.
Okay.
And then I turned around, and he hit me in the back of the head with the bat. So I went to my room and got my gun. I always carry it.
You went to your room, meaning the room you're staying in?
Yeah.
Okay, and you brought a gun with you?
Yes.
Do you always bring a gun?
I have a concealed carry always.
Okay.
Just to be safe.
Hi, who are you? Okay, just stand over there for just a second, guys.
And then I told him to put the bat down, and he wouldn't, and he came at me again.
And the wife just showed up as well. So you told him to put the...
Yes.
So where are you at?
Back
Where are you at now? Or did you stay in your bedroom?
No.
Okay, why didn't you stay just in your bedroom, close the door? Is that something you didn't think about, or?
It didn't even occur to me.
Okay, so walk me through it. So you go back in your room.
So I just went back in the living room. I'm like, what is your problem?
With the gun in your
Yes.
hand?
And I said, I want you to put that bat down. And he wouldn't do it. And he's like, and he came at me with the bat again after he'd already hit me in the head. So I shot him to stop him.
Okay, and then what happened?
That was it. And
Okay. Is it Alex or Alexander? What do you go by? Do you go by Alex or Alexander?
Alexander.
Okay.
I couldn't understand what you were saying.
No, I just needed more units because the wife is out front. She doesn't know it's 911. I haven't told her that either. And the child is there too. So that's the wife and his child that's with them. Okay. So
What about, is this guy from the city?
yes, he's the brother of the wife. And he was staying with his sister. Okay. It was I guess it was a domestic.
Okay, wanted you. So,
Okay. So do you, so you only live in Santan Valley, so why is it just easier to just hang out here?
I was just here late last night. Slept the night.
Gotcha. Okay. Are you and your sister pretty close?
Yeah, we're planning to go do something today.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
In September 2019, the story of Lori Vallow takes a mysterious and heart-wrenching turn. Tylee, Lori's daughter, is last seen on September 8th during a family trip to Yellowstone National Park. With her are her brother JJ, Lori, and their uncle, Alex Cox.
FBI and the Rexburg Police Department are now asking anyone who visited Yellowstone National Park on September 8th, 2019 to send them photos or video that might help them in their investigation. Police have determined both children were at Yellowstone that day with Lori and Lori's brother, Alex Cox. These are photos the FBI sent us from that day. In the past, we've reported that September 8th was the last day Tylee was seen. JJ was last seen later on that month. The FBI says the group was traveling in this truck belonging to Alex Cox. Again, that is Lori Vallow's brother. Lori Vallow is expected in court tomorrow afternoon in Madison County. Right now, she's facing 5 charges, including 2 felony charges for deserting her children. She's remained very tight-lipped throughout the search for her children, Tammy.
She has. Thank you, Chase, for that update.
In a chilling twist, just as the mystery around Tylee and JJ deepens, another tragic event unfolds. On October 9th, 2019, Tammy Daybell, Chad's wife, reports a bizarre incident. A masked man shoots at her with what she thinks is a paintball gun. She's shaken, but unharmed. Fast forward 10 days, and the unthinkable happens. Tammy is found dead in her home.
911, where's your emergency?
We're at 202 North, 1900 East.
What's going on?
We just found my mom. She's on the ground frozen, or she's stiff, and I don't know.
Are you in Madison County or Fremont County?
I'm Chad, the husband. She's clearly dead.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay. Okay, are you in Rexburg or... Because your address shows a Rexburg address, but you're in Fremont County?
Mile past.
Okay. Okay.
Frozen.
Okay, can I get your name?
Chad Daybell. Oh, man.
Okay, Chad, I'm going to get somebody up to you right now, okay?
You know the corner where the blinking yellow light is from the red house?
Yes, sir. Red house on the corner.
After Tammy's death, Chad cashes in a whopping $430,000 from life insurance policies. Meanwhile, the kids are missing, and Charles Vallow's already dead under suspicious circumstances.
This nugget about Tammy who was Chad Daybell's, Lori Vallow's husband's first wife, who died, I would say objectively under very curious circumstances. She had recently upped her life insurance. Is that true?
Yeah, this was probably the most jaw-dropping moment for me in court today. She upped her life insurance by about 10 times with Chad signing off. She worked for school. She died on a Saturday. On Monday, Chad Daybell shows up to the school ready to collect the life insurance 2 days after his wife died. And the woman who works there was on the stand, who runs the benefits, and was like, well, do you have the death certificate yet? It's just so fresh. And he said, oh yeah, I've already ordered 8 death certificates, and I'd like to start filling out the paperwork. It was just 2 days after she died.
It's almost like a macabre plan is unfolding. Could all these deaths be connected to Chad and Lori's bizarre doomsday beliefs? Were they getting rid of those they deemed dark in their twisted worldview? The pieces of this puzzle are disturbingly starting to fit together. The sudden disappearance of Tylee and JJ raised immediate red flags. The investigation revealed a web of lies and deceit.
Where are your kids? No comment? They've been missing for 4 months. You have nothing to say?
This is a recording on December 8th at 3:43 p.m. And I am calling Chad Daybell's phone number, and hopefully I will be talking to both of them, Chad and Lori. So here goes the phone call.
Hello, sweet Melanie.
Hi, Chad. Hey, Lori. How are you?
Hey, let me put on speaker.
Oh, okay.
All right.
We're enough with the phone. How are you guys?
We're okay. How are you doing, babe?
I'm doing pretty good, thanks. I was wondering, where are you guys?
We're just hanging out.
Hanging out? Are you in Idaho?
We're near Idaho.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to ask you a question, if you don't mind, Lori.
Yeah, of course, honey.
I want to know, you remember we talked about JJ going to Kay's house, and you told me they went there, and now he's not there? I was wondering what happened.
Well, I had to move him somewhere else because of her actions. So
Was she doing something? Like, was she trying to come get him or something? Or, like, trying to kidnap him?
well, she said that lots of times before, but
Okay, when I asked Chad the other day, I was like, hey, where is JJ? And he said, for my security, he didn't want me to know. So is there a reason I should be in danger to know where he is?
no, it's nobody. It's his danger. It's the danger that there's people after me.
Okay.
We just felt that if you knew, that puts you in a danger.
Well, just in a bad position.
Yeah, bad position.
Everybody, if they don't know anything, then they don't have to say they know.
Right, so you're just worried. Okay.
I'm just to keep him protected and
keep you protected.
And keep everybody else good.
I appreciate that. Well, I was wondering why you told the police why he was with me.
I just needed to have somebody so I wouldn't have to tell them where he really was, because they were going to tell Kay where he is.
Oh, yeah. So do you think it's like your family, or, like your family, your dad, or, those people?
My family, well, not my whole family, but as you know, most of my family is working against me and with her, basically.
Yeah. Is JJ safe?
He is safe and happy.
Okay, well, that's good to hear. Are you afraid of anything? Like, are you afraid to tell me that you're just afraid that that I could be in danger? Like like I don't, like if I knew, like how could that hurt me? I don't understand how that could hurt me if I knew where he was.
Well, I'm just not telling anybody so that nobody has to say where he is or get questioned to where he is, so I can keep him as safe as possible.
Yeah. Okay, I hope that he's okay. I hope you guys are okay. I did have a question that I asked Al at one point, your brother, if I wanted to know, like where he was, and he said I did not want to know, and that he could not be found. So what does that mean?
I don't know why he would say that, but it's the same story. Like I don't even want Al to know. I don't want anybody to know, so that nobody has to be worried about it. I mean, nobody has to be questioned about it, so he can be safe.
Yeah. So how long are you gonna be away for? Like, are you ever gonna be able to come out and come back to society again, or are you gonna keep, come back? I mean, like, what does that look like?
I will do whatever the Lord needs me to do every day, so we'll see.
I just wondered if I was ever going to see you again.
Absolutely, you will.
Okay, so maybe when they're done chasing you, you'll be able to come out again, or?
Yeah, I mean, it's a ridiculous thing for them to be working with Kay to find me. There's nothing that's gone on that's, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're working with her in some dark capacity. The police are working with her in some dark capacity. There's no reason for them to be after me in the first place.
Yeah, has she threatened you at all?
Yes, lots of times.
Oh boy, what did she say?
Well, it's in emails and everything, so.
So, like, she said she was going to come take him, or she was...
There's a lot of things.
Yeah.
Nellie.
I know, it sounds like it. I'm just worried for you guys because, he's missing, and,
I know exactly where he is. He's perfectly fine and happy.
Okay, well, I hope so. I had a scripture I wanted to share with you, if you don't mind.
I'd love it.
I was thinking about some of the things you guys have gone through, and I saw this scripture today, and I want you to
Let me ask you a question. About scripture. Okay? So, did Alma turn himself into King Noah, or what was he required to do?
Well, King Noah was incredibly wicked.
Yes.
And so he fled his evil ways, which is adultery and living riotously and breaking all the commandments.
Right. So what was he required to do, Alma?
He had to go and flee so that he would be safe, and then help other people realize how jacked up the system was and the government was.
What about Moroni? What was he required to do at the end?
To carry on those plates and bury them. That was his responsibility.
What did he have to do to do that? Did he hide?
He had to hide. He had to hide because they were so. Everybody was killing everybody in the society. Everybody was dying. They were killing all the Nephites.
And the scriptures had to hide in the cavity of a rock by day and go out by night.
The prophets did.
They did.
Yeah. Okay, so thank you for sharing that with me. Okay, this scripture is just something that may be thoughtful for you. For behold, this is Doctrine and Covenants, section 3, verse 7 and 8. It says, for behold, you should not have feared man more than God. Although men set not the counsels of God and despise his words, yet you should have been faithful, and he would have extended his arm and supported you against all the fiery darts of the adversary. He would have been with you in every trouble. So when we work with the Lord and are obedient, He's going to protect us from adversarial darts and all kinds of negativity. But when we open the door to Satan, he comes in and then he attacks. And then he takes away to make it look like Somebody else took it away, but that's not how God works. He doesn't work in darkness.
I agree with you 100%, and that's what the Lord is doing for me. Exactly what He's doing for me.
Oh, it just sounds
We have not
weird.
opened the door for darkness now. Darkness is knocking on the door all the time because that's the way dark works with the light. And I promise you that I have done nothing wrong in this case, but sometimes you have to hide in the cavity of a rock for your own life safety. And that's what the Lord requires of you sometimes. And that's how it is. And I'm sorry that's how it is, because there is a lot of darkness on the earth.
I know.
It's been after me for zero reason, besides the darkness of Kay, which you already know she's dark.
I haven't met her enough to know if she's dark or not. I've just met her slightly, and she seemed like a normal kind of person, but then I haven't engaged with her that much, so I don't know that personally.
So you don't know about her changing the thing for herself to be the beneficiary of the policy and all that stuff. None of that's dark, right?
Well, I haven't seen those documents, so I have no way of knowing.
You've seen them on my computer.
No, I have not. I haven't even looked in on your computer before. You haven't showed me anything.
I don't know why you're being controversial to me, or if you're recording this conversation for the police or whatever. I don't know what your intention is on this phone call.
Well,
but I love you with all my heart, and I have forever. And I will always love you.
I appreciate those words, but if you really loved me, you wouldn't have told the police that I had JJ with me. That's not what a friend does. I mean, that just makes me look weird, and it's not safe for me. That doesn't look good. I mean, you had to think of my welfare if you love me.
I do, and I did exactly what I felt the Lord was instructing me to do. And I appreciate you, and I love you. And I never do anything to harm you. And you can have all of this confirmed to you by the Lord.
I have. And my conscience is clear. I feel very understanding what's really going on, Lori. And I believe that you have been very deceived by Satan. I believe that he has tricked you. And I don't believe that what you're doing is correct. I just don't. I mean, Tammy dies, and then your husband died, and then he's missing. It just doesn't sound like God's plan to me. It gives me a gut feeling, like in my gut, it feels weird. It doesn't feel right. I don't have peace about it. I never have felt 100% peace about it. I always felt like a little weird in my stomach about all these things.
You know me, Mel. You know me. This does not sound like you. This sounds like you've been influenced by somebody dark who wants you to believe dark things and have fear of the celestial world.
I don't have fear.
You obviously do.
No, I have a peace of conscience, and I can see clearly.
Well, I'm sorry that you feel that way. I love you so much.
I know you do. I don't know what else to say.
Stand Christ when he comes again, and he's coming soon, and we will all stand there, and you will know at that point that he has supported me and has supported me the whole time, and I have not been deceived.
I just want to testify that I know Tammy does have the conspiracy theories. My sister-in-law's right behind it all, and I hope that you're not being influenced by that dark team.
I don't know who she is. I'm sorry, you said your sister-in-law? I don't even know her.
Oh, I know, but she's coming up with the same type of theories. Mm-hmm. And it's just not true. My own children were there. They testified that Tammy had been getting weaker and sick, and I begged her to go to the doctor. Her heart was failing her. She was physically falling apart, and she hates doctors, and she just passed away. That's how it happened. My son Garth was right there with me the whole time. My kids were at the house within 20 minutes of her passing. There were 2 coroners. They checked her out right there on the bed. All these conspiracy theories just make me sick to my stomach. Just absolutely sick. I know been told for years that Tammy would pass away at a young age. And I had no idea that Lori would even be a part of my life. I just knew that my life had two segments. And that I know Tammy's on a special mission and she's with my kids. She's visited them. There's so much, Melanie, that you just have to have faith. And this is not some sort of master plan. There's no way Lori and I could ever come up with this. It's just...
You can understand my concern, correct?
I can from an outside perspective, but from
someone who knows as much as you know, no, not really. But we can feel Dave's influence on you. I can feel that for sure.
He's a very good man, and he has a very strong foundation, that I know.
I know, but he seems to be the one that's putting the doubts in your mind.
No, you know what? I have come to understand that my gut feeling, I was not listening to it. And I always felt uncomfortable with many things.
Okay.
Well, I'm sorry that I included you in those teachings then for your own sake, because I wish that you didn't have as much knowledge as you have, because you will be accountable for the knowledge that you do have, no?
So will you.
I agree 100%.
Yeah.
100%. I have no fear.
Yeah.
I have no fear.
As investigators pieced together the puzzle of Tylee and JJ's disappearance, the net of clues tightened. Phone records, web searches, text messages, and crucially, satellite pings from phone GPS. It was a high-tech hunt that led to a heart-stopping discovery. In the backyard of Chad Daybell's property, the unthinkable was unearthed: the remains of Tylee and JJ. The revelation sent shockwaves across the nation, turning a case of missing children into a horrific tale of murder.
Agent, what involvement, if any, did you have with the search on the Chad Daybell residence on June 9th and 10th of 2020?
I was the senior team leader, so the team leader was my role at that search of Chad Daybell's property on those dates.
Okay. What did you and your team do in preparation for the search of that property?
Approximately 1 week prior to that search, the local case agent contacted me and let me know that there was going to be a search on the Daybell property. And at that point, we helped develop the search strategy to search the property. And that strategy involved working with the local law enforcement, the local FBI agents, working with our evidence response team unit, who oversees all of the evidence response teams throughout the nation, and then working with our FBI laboratory to develop a search strategy prior to hitting boots on the ground, prior to executing that search warrant.
How many areas of interest did you have when you arrived on the property?
So as part of our preparation, working with the local law enforcement, case agents up here, the FBI laboratory, we had already established, and I'll speak to kind of the priority things that we did. We had satellite imagery, we had telephone ping information, we had one text message in particular that already allowed us to establish some priority areas of interest on the property. On the property, this is the fire pit area. So from satellite imagery, similar to what this image is, this wasn't satellite imagery, I don't think, but similar to this image, we could tell that there was a fire pit on the property. Based on my experience, we knew before we even set foot on the property that we could potentially find evidence in the fire pit.
And what were the other priority areas?
So based on a text message we were already aware of through the investigation, we knew that there was discussion pet cemetery. Before arriving, we didn't know where this pet cemetery was. So one of the assessments we had to make once we arrived was, where is the pet cemetery? That was something we knew from a text message. So our job was to try to locate this pet cemetery.
Okay. Were there any other priority areas?
And then we knew from telephone ping information, we had a ping that was on the east side of this pond. somewhere in here, I'd say.
Exhibit 31 is being handed to the witness.
I'm going to have you take a look at that, Mr. Dean. Mr. Dean, what is that?
This is a copy of the messages sent between Chad and Tammy Daybell on September 9th, 2019.
How do you know this?
I know this because I reviewed these exact same messages in this exact same message conversation, while I was doing the review of the device.
You testified, Mr. Dean, that these messages initially caught your attention.
Yes, they did.
Why?
The first message in particular caught my attention because it was longer and more detailed than any of the other messages between Chad and Tammy that were stored on the device. Most of the messages between Chad and Tammy were relatively short, and they dealt with matters around the house. For example, whether to pick up food for an animal, the depositing or cashing of checks, and the comings and goings of one or the other, when they would get home, when they would be leaving. It appeared to me to be the first and only message sent from Chad to Tammy, in which Chad was describing and informing Tammy of his day's events in such a lengthy and detailed manner. The other thing that caught my attention was the date. If you recall earlier in my testimony, I mentioned how my first assignment in this case was reviewing the tips that came in pursuant to the press release that was asking for visitors who had been to Yellowstone National Park on the 8th of September 2019 to send in photos and videos that may help in the investigation. And that was because Tylee and JJ had been seen at Yellowstone that day. After reviewing hundreds of those photographs and videos, in consulting with the team members on the FBI side who were also involved in this case about the timeline, because I didn't know that timeline, I was well aware that that date, the 8th of September 2019, was the last day that Tylee Ryan was seen alive. So upon reading this text message in which Chad appears to claim to have started a fire, shot and killed a large animal, and buried it on his property, I recognized that it was sent the day after Tylee Ryan was last seen alive, and I became concerned.
What did you do after you reviewed those messages?
I relayed the information to the case agents.
That's all I have for this.
In a solemn moment at the coroner's office, the true horror of what had happened to Tylee and JJ was revealed, a sight that spoke volumes of the unthinkable cruelty they endured.
Get them to do. Okay. Was an item of interest eventually pulled out of that area?
Yes.
And can you describe what that item of interest looked like?
It was what appeared to be a small body tightly wrapped in black plastic, covered in duct tape.
Okay. While you were observing what happened at the ERT site, at that site we've just discussed north of the pond, did you ever leave that site for any purpose?
Yes, I did.
What did you do? Well, about what time did you leave that site?
Before noon.
Okay. And what did you do?
I assisted Sergeant Eric Wheeler in placing Mr. Daybell into custody off of a traffic stop.
Okay. In that area, did you have a chance to further observe ERT excavate that area you referred to as a pet cemetery?
Yes.
Okay. What did you observe?
They had already dug down and located what would appear to be a mass of burnt flesh and charred bone.
Detective, were there, when you observed what you perceived to be a child, was there anything that drew your attention?
Yes.
Can you describe for the court what drew your attention?
The amount of duct tape that was covering the body.
Okay. Where was that duct tape located?
On the head, arms, and feet.
Okay.
The head had a white plastic bag over the top of it. It appeared to be a normal trash bag, had a red drawstring. It appeared to be the expandable type of trash bag with the waffle style pattern on top of the head. There was duct tape that was tightly wrapped around this way, tightly from his chin to his forehead. Additional piece of duct tape that was stretched from jawline to jawline across the mouth. I recognize that to be the same little boy that was laying on the table.
Okay, and can you, who was that little boy?
Joshua Vallow.
Okay.
His hands were folded about chest high.
Detective, can you lift that a little bit higher so we can see?
Folded like this, chest high. He had duct tape continuously wrapped from elbow all the way around his arms, over his hands, all the way to his right elbow. Several layers of duct tape that were tightly wrapped. And the best way I can describe it is he had a ball of duct tape over where his hands would be. His wrists were also bound with another layer of duct tape. I noticed that his ankles were also bound with duct tape as well.
What did you observe in that second examination?
I observed the same melted green bucket with the charred flesh and charred bone that was located on Mr. Daybell's property that was now sitting on the table in the medical examiner's office.
Okay, thank you.
After being deemed fit for trial in 2022, Lori Vallow Daybell, infamously known as the Doomsday Mom, faced her reckoning in a Boise courtroom. On May 12, 2023, backed by an overwhelming array of evidence, the prosecution team presented a compelling case. It revealed Lori as a greedy master manipulator, a woman who twisted her religious beliefs to control and exploit those around her for her own gain.
Money, power, and sex. Beginning in October of 2018, Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell set in motion a series of events that led to 3 horrific murders in the state of Idaho. Along their way, they quickly recruited and groomed her brother Alex Cox to participate in their multiple conspiracies. Each of these conspiracies is part of a larger plan for Chad and Lori to be together, unencumbered and free of obstacles. This plan was driven by Lori Vallow's desire for and use of money, power, and sex. And this plan that she set in motion must end today in the verdicts you render in this trial. Idaho murder number 1. Tylee Ryan. Tylee was Lori Vallow's 16-year-old vibrant daughter. She had a whole life ahead of her. Tylee was murdered between September 8th and September 9th, 2019. Lori Vallow was responsible for Tylee's health and safety. But instead of protecting her, Lori Vallow, Chad Daybell, and Alex Cox conspired to murder her. Acting together, they caused her death. Tylee's body was burned beyond recognition. Her body was dismembered in such a grotesque and extreme manner that the medical examiner had to determine the cause of death as homicide by unspecified or unknown means. She was burned and buried in Chad Daybell's backyard on September 9th, 2019. What was left of her body, they dumped in a green bucket and buried in a pet cemetery on top of a piece of her skull. Tylee was gone and buried and out of the way, but Lori Vallow kept collecting Tylee's money. Tylee Ryan had been receiving Social Security benefits from the death of her father, and Lori personally took steps to make sure that she kept receiving that money after Tylee was murdered. Lori never reported that Tylee was missing or dead. Not only did she not report it, she lied to multiple people about Tylee's location and whereabouts, including to the police. She had to keep her body hidden so she could keep getting the money. Idaho murder number 2. Between September 22nd and 23rd, 2019, J.J. Vallow's voice was silenced forever by a strip of duct tape placed across his mouth. A white plastic bag was placed over his head, where it was secured tightly with duct tape, being wrapped around and around from his forehead to his neck. The evidence shows he struggled, and we'll never know how long he fought before they bound his wrists, his forearms, and his ankles with duct tape. That white bag that was placed over his head, that was duct taped over his head, cut off his airways. So he stopped breathing. His heart stopped beating, and he died. It was a brutal, horrific murder of a 7-year-old boy with special needs. A 7-year-old boy with special needs. JJ's body was placed in a black plastic and buried like a piece of trash in Chad Daybell's backyard. In a shallow but well-prepared and precise grave. Just like Tylee, JJ was the recipient of Social Security benefits from the death of his father, Charles Vallow. Just like Tylee, Lori never reported that JJ was missing or dead. Why? He had to remain hidden so she could keep receiving the money. Not only did she not report, she lied to multiple people about his location. She even asked a friend, Melanie Gibb, to lie to the police about JJ's location, and further asked her to falsify evidence of his location. Just like Tylee, after JJ was murdered, she kept collecting the money. Idaho murder number 3. Between the night of October 19th and the morning of October 20th, or between the night of October 18th and October 20th, 2019, Tammy Daybell, a loving, active, healthy 49-year-old mother of 5, and a school librarian, was murdered in her own home. She was asphyxiated in her own home. The evidence is clear that Lori Vallow, Chad Daybell, and Alex Cox conspired to murder Tammy. Acting together, they caused her death. Her death occurred just a little over a week after a masked gunman had attempted to shoot her. She entered her home after a night of church activities. When their first plan didn't work, they formed a second plan, and she was asphyxiated. Lori was conveniently gone for both the attempted murder and the successful murder. She was conveniently out of the state. Those trips were not coincidences. And just like Tylee and JJ, there was money to be gained from Tammy's death. $430,000 worth of life insurance. And Lori wasted no time in making sure she could benefit from that money. A mere 2.5 weeks after Tammy Daybell died on November 5th, 2019, Lori Vallow married Chad Daybell on a beach in Hawaii. So, less than 2 months after Tylee and JJ are murdered, and within weeks of Tammy's murder, Lori and Chad are on a beach, in the words of her sister, dancing on a beach in Hawaii. Free from the obstacles that were Tylee, JJ, and Tammy, but living with the money that was gained from each of their deaths. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to quickly talk to you about the timeline of this case. The timeline tells the truth, and Lori Vallow is convicted by the timeline she created. She meets Chad in October of 2018. You have seen plenty of evidence of the affair that took place after they met. July 11th, 2019, Lori's brother, Alex, shoots and kills Charles Vallow, Lori's husband. September 8th and 9th, Tylee Ryan, Lori Vallow's daughter, is killed. September 22nd to 23rd, JJ Vallow, her son, is killed. October 19th, 2019, Tammy Daybell is killed. These are not coincidences. And there is one common thread through these murders. Lori Vallow. She is the one person who ties these all together. You heard about the investigation and how it got started, looking for a Jeep that was used in an attempted shooting at Brandon Boudreaux on October 2nd. You heard about Chad and the life insurance. They're married November 5th. You heard about how the Rexburg police got a call looking for JJ towards the end of November. And that kicks off the investigation looking for JJ and Tylee. How they searched the apartments. And how finally, through their investigation, the bodies of Tylee Ryan and JJ Vallow were found on June 9th. Tammy's body was exhumed on December 11th. Alex Cox died December 12th. Money is the motive for murder. Power. Let's talk about religion for 1 second, because we've heard a lot about religion. It does not matter what they believed. It matters what they did. They can believe whatever they want. But when they use that to justify homicide, that changes. They used religion as a tool to manipulate others. Lori manipulated Alex Cox through religion. She manipulated Chad through emotional and sexual control. They manipulated their friends through this use of religion. Let's talk about how she groomed Alex Cox. Ladies and gentlemen, you have multiple iCloud conversations in evidence that you can review in deliberations. I encourage you to do so. I'm not going to read everything here, but let's look at some of the things Lori said. March 20th, she says to Alex, "I'm finding out some great stuff about you. I learned about you. You're going to like it. We can talk about it." How does he respond? "Okay, hurry, please. He's eager for the knowledge." She says, "We can talk about it tomorrow, hopefully." We talked about sex in this case, how it was a motive, their affair. how they had to remove obstacles so they could be together. Those conversations often turn sexual. Always talking about their future together, their plan to be together. The conversation on July 14th between Chad and Lori, where he wants to kiss her for hours, and it would likely lead to other activities. And she says likely or luckily lead to nakedness. Again, their conversations. He's saying she's incredible. Their mission has barely begun. Her mission has barely begun. As long as it ends with you, it's all good. Wish I could see with you and be cheek to cheek. Lori uses sex to manipulate Chad. And Chad seeks confirmation from Lori repeatedly. July 23rd, she asked Chad, "Need you to check JJ. When you get home, check Tylee. She's being super sweet and helpful." And she cleaned her room. She got switched. Totally not her. See if she got switched. Again, they're using this religion, even amongst themselves, to justify murder. And she's encouraging it. This isn't fantasy. Those children were found in real life, dead in Chad Daybell's backyard. Again, 7/26/2019. In response to a text from Chad, "Need you to check JJ. She said he was calm and he watched movies all day, which he would never do." Justification for murder. This isn't JJ. Justification. She's encouraging, she's aiding. This text removes any doubt that they are talking about murder. From Chad to Lori, 7/30/2019. I got the inspiration to go back to my original death percentages that helped us track Charles. Not me, us. Charles, Ned, etc. What happened to Charles? Charles got shot in the chest by Alex Cox. Tammy is very close. So after he's talking about death percentages to track Charles, Tammy is close. They are talking about murdering Tammy. Her percentage has fallen. It is encouraging. And how does she respond? What is the percentage now? And then, what about JJ's too? So on July 30th, she's already planning for JJ to go the same way as Charles, to be murdered. Chad responds, "Tammy is at 3, JJ is at 2. Both are being heavily shielded to stop intruders." And what does she say? She doesn't say, "Maybe we shouldn't kill children." She says, 2 and 3%, not 0. She wants the children gone. He says he'll explain when they talk. And this is sexual manipulation. Okay, still feeling hot for you. He's telling her what she wants to hear. She reinforces him with sexual behavior. Again, Lori, this is at Lori's initiation. Please check JJ. She's asking him to check for these death percentages. He says JJ is still JJ. Is he at 0 yet? August 10th. 6 weeks later, he's dead. August 10th. Is he at 0? She can't wait. Yes, he's at 0. He probably was partly through the veil. Ladies and gentlemen, there is no question what they're talking about. The veil of life and death. They are talking about the death of J.J. Vallow. August 10th. Again, Lori initiating this conversation. Do you think there is a perfectly orchestrated plan to take the children and we just have to wait for it to be carried out? I feel lost, like I should be doing something to help. Not, I think we shouldn't kill the children. I should be doing something to help for the children to be taken. And Chad tells her, there's a plan. What should I be doing? What do I need to do to make this happen? That's what Lori's asking. And he tells her she's doing everything right. He said to just keep resolving the celestial issues so you are unencumbered and fully free. Unencumbered by your children, fully free. Lori says to Chad, I'm so alone without you, it's devastating. And he says, we are surrounded by celestial relatives that are simply obstacles. I'm so sick of it. Again, she doesn't say, maybe we shouldn't kill our relatives. Me too. What is it that you really want? Never a hesitation. She wants to move forward with this plan. The day of Tammy Daybell's death, she's texting Chad, not fun without you. His wife just died. She didn't just die, she was murdered. And that's why she feels comfortable texting him like this. The next day, she says to him, I'm missing you more. I need you desperately. I can't wait. That same day, he texts her about the Lily workout plan. Remember, Lily is another name for Lori. This is her workout plan for him to get in shape. She says, I love that plan. Not soon enough, though. This is torture. She's moving this along. Look at the timeline. Charles Vallow, Tylee Ryan, JJ, Tammy. All within a short time frame. How are they tied together? Who could have killed those people? You have Lori Vallow, Chad Daybell, Alex Cox. Who had motive to kill those people? Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell. What is the thread between Alex Cox and Chad Daybell? Lori Vallow. Who benefits from these murders? Lori Vallow gets Tylee's money. She gets JJ's money. She and Chad get Tammy's money. Ladies and gentlemen, the burden is beyond a reasonable doubt. There is no question that Tylee Ryan, JJ Vallow, and Tammy Daybell were murdered. Who is the common thread? Lori Vallow. What does justice for these victims require? It requires a conviction of each and every count.
After the prosecution masterfully and eloquently laid out a tapestry of undeniable evidence, the jury on May 12, 2023, delivered a unanimous verdict in a Boise, Idaho courtroom. Lori Vallow Daybell was found guilty on all counts. Her sentence, pronounced on July 31, 2023, reflected the gravity of her crimes: consecutive life sentences for the murders of Tylee and JJ, and for conspiring to murder Tammy Daybell, alongside fines and restitution for grand theft. In November 2023, Lori's story took another turn as she was extradited to Arizona to face additional murder charges, closing a chapter on a case that has both shocked and saddened the nation. As for Chad Daybell, Lori Vallow Daybell's husband, his day in court is set for April 1, 2024. This follows the severance of his trial from Lori's by Judge Stephen Boyce, who also presided over Lori's trial. Chad faces a total of 6 charges, including the murder of his first wife, Tammy Daybell, and the murders of 7-year-old Joshua J.J. Vallow and 16-year-old Tylee Ryan. Additionally, he is charged with conspiracy to commit murder in all 3 deaths, with the charges involving JJ and Tylee also encompassing conspiracy to commit grand theft by deception. While Lori has been convicted and sentenced, the outcome of Chad's trial remains to be seen, as he has pleaded not guilty to all charges. Thank you for joining us on Luminance TV as we navigated the intricate and somber details of this case. Remember to subscribe to our channel for more in-depth coverage and insights into the stories that challenge, intrigue, and impact us all.
Help me!